So, guys, let's continue with the next part. Today's guys, the agenda for today would be first, I would like to start with a topic called how we can set up privilege escalation, right, in the Ansible. So this will be first topic, and then we will move how to use SSS key, right? This will be the first topic, how to use SSS key with the Ansible. And if this will complete this topic, these two topic today, then I'll show you guys how to how to make AWS EC2 instance to be one of my managed node. So guys, we did one practical in AWS where I show you how to write a playbook to launch the instance. That's called provisioning the instance, right? But after you provisioning, what you want to do, you would like to configure this instance, right, for something. Let's say maybe for the web server. So in this case, you have to make this instance as a managed node. Okay, but if you want to make a AWS instance as a managed node, okay, then you should know two basic concepts beforehand. One is the privilege escalation and SSK. Because normally in the AWS instances, uh, you don't have a direct password login enable. So we have to use key, and you don't have a root user enable. You have to use privilege escalation with the help of sudo. So what I mean by this topic, first let me explain this concept in detail. Then we'll use this concept, guys, to solve one of the use case how we can make EC2 instance as a managed node. Okay. And yesterday, guys, I have talked about a topic called role. This topic is not yet complete, but I'm not continuing this topic today, because I think if I take this topic, maybe we'll pick some of the pre-created role from the Ansible Galaxy, and try to see how to use the role on the top of EC2, or maybe some this kind of scenario. So let me first complete some more topic, and then if you use some create some more extra rule, either we create or we get from the Ansible Galaxy. What is Galaxy, I have already discussed with you guys yesterday, but how to use it, use the Galaxy, we'll see in the upcoming classes, guys. So so sorry, guys. So what is a Ansible privilege escalation? Let me first explain you. Okay, then we'll implement this part, right? So to understand, guys, privileges as escalation, you should know one simple concept of Linux called sudo. And I'm not guys taking the class today on sudo, because it is a very basic concept of Linux, and especially those guys who don't know sudo, we have already shared a detailed class from very basics to advanced about the sudo. So I think you guys have gone through this class. But as a very as a very quick summary about the sudo, so at least you guys can link today's topic very easily. Okay. So it is something like this. If you talk about Linux instances or Linux operating system, the main account that is called admin account in Linux called root. Root is a account that has a all the power, or I can say unlimited power. Okay. And for the security best practices, normally, or I can say 99.9%, or maybe I can say 100% in the real server, or in the production server, or I can see in any of the any of the real servers or Linux servers, right? We always disable the root account. Okay, we don't enable this account. Why? One of the reasons, security, because by chance somehow somebody stolen the password, and somebody somehow get the password root, they will have an entire control on the operating system. So this is one of the reason, right? So we always disable the root account, but maybe those guys who are following along of my Ansible classes, or maybe my any other Linux classes, you always see I always log in with the root account. Either I log in locally, or either I use a remote login SSH. I always use root login so that you guys can comfortable with the other practicals, right? But typically in the real world, if you try to log in with the root account, okay, it is always disabled. Okay, now point here is, if the root account is disabled, and root is the only user in the Linux operating system that has all the power, all the power. Okay, and any user that have all the power, okay, are also known as, or I can say power is also known as privilege. Okay, so I can say if I have a root user and the power, so I have entire privileges of this operating system. Okay, but sorry guys, but I told you guys, I told you root account is always disabled in the system. So how, if the account is disabled, how we log in? So technically we always create some secondary account, or I can say some general account system. Let's say maybe in my computer I create an account called Vimal, or I can say I can create a user called Vimal. But because this is general user or general account, and then account always has a limited power. And because they have a limited power, you can't do lots of things from the general account. Even though if you want to install the software with yum command, you won't able to use it. Very quick demo, maybe you guys know, but I just wanted to quickly show you. Okay, well, let me show you in this VM. Okay, so let's say this is one of my VM. In this VM, I'm going to create, because I'm logging root account. But if I create some other account, let's say Vimal, with some password, so I can log in. I can log in, and now from this particular account, if I log in with the Vimal account with some password, with the password, because I log in with this account, we can use with ID command to verify that I log in with the Vimal account. And if you guys notice here, every account has some unique ID. This 101 is one of the ID given to my this account. But because this is the general account, and from this general account, guys, if I try to use yum command, or maybe any other command, this is called system or admin related command, we won't able to use it. And finally, guys, it will fail and say you are not allowed, only root can run it. Okay, only root can run it. So typically what I'm talking about here is, all right, first of all, root account disable, and other account, we always we always have other account to log in. But this other account, guys, don't have a power to use the admin related command like yum command or maybe any other command. Okay, so normally what we do in one operating system, there will be lots of admin command, okay, that only root can use. But for the IT guys in the company, or for the human being in the company, right? We disable the root account, we give Vimal account to this guy, and say you are logging to Linux system, but you don't have to use all the admin command, but you might require to use yum command. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm giving you extra power to you, or extra privileges to you. Okay, that you can run any other command, basic command, but any admin command you are not allowed to run. Only I'm giving some extra power for the yum command, or maybe xyz command, or maybe service command, systemctl command. Okay, so if you guys want to give some user some extra power of some other command that is only allowed to the root account, so if you want to do so, that concept is known as, I can say, Vimal, you will have extra power. Okay, so I'm giving some extra power to you, and that is called privilege escalation. And if you want to guys achieve privilege escalation in the Linux operating system, for this we have a program available, and the program is called sudo, sudo program. So with the help of sudo, we can achieve privilege escalation. But it is something like this. It is something like this. If Vimal, it is something like this. If I draw over here internally, okay. So right now, Vimal is using the yum command. Okay, so according to my computer, right, they assume who is running this command, Vimal is running. Because Vimal don't have power of admin, they're not allowing me. They're not allowing me. Okay, not allowing me error. But what can I do? What can I tell my yum command that I know Vimal is running this command. ID is Vimal. But when you run yourself, just think you're not run or executed by Vimal. Internally, you have been run by a root account, or I can say you have been run with the power of root account. Okay, so you can think in this way also. That technique, I'm again talking about the privilege escalation. For this, what you have to do, nothing is special. So as a Vimal, if you want to run any command that you don't have power, you have to use sudo before this. So you technically you're telling the yum command that I am the Vimal, but internally you run this command with the power of the root. Okay, guys, here if you notice, they ask the password of my own Vimal, not the root account password, because I don't know the root account password, even though I know my root account might be disabled. Okay, so I know my own personal password. If I give the password, it will fail. So Vimal is not in the sudo file. So technically, everybody know about sudo concept, guys. So by this, anybody can get the root power. Okay, so that is the guys reason this error come up. And the meaning of this error is saying you are trying to use some sudo power. Who are you, your Vimal? You are trying to use some sudo power to run this command, right? Yum. And to run this command with the power of root power. Why? Because you use sudo, but you're not allowed, because the admin of the system means actual root of the system doesn't allow you. If you want to use sudo, somebody should allow this. So technically it's something like this. Initially, when the system installed, maybe manually or automatic way, somebody log in with the root account initially, before you use the system in the production world, and they open this file. It's called etc sudo file. Sudo file initially. Okay, and in this sudo file, they will go and write. So guys, can you hold for a second? They open this file, and in this file they write this line and say we are going Vimal up power for all equals to all. And guys, I am not explaining you this line because this is not the sudo class, but if you guys go through my sudo class, every bit of this line I explained to you. And here I'm using yum command. So technically the meaning of this line is, now after Vimal login, Vimal has a power to run only all the basic command like delete or cal or ls, but only admin related command that only root can use. One of the command is yum. So Vimal has a power to run a yum command as an extra command. But you want to give all the power to all the command, you can use all. All here. Okay, it means it means you are giving Vimal to run all the admin command. So you can think it is like a now Vimal become a root user. So normally in the real world, we don't give all the command power. Either we give yum command power, we give systemctl command power, and some of the admin power we give. But right now, to make it simple, because there is no sudo class, so I'm just giving all power. Now, after I write this line, okay, let me save this file forcefully because this is a very critical file. Okay, so technically now this OS has been set up, and now somebody in this OS disable the root account and give this account called Vimal, Vimal to some of the IT guys. And now the IT guys can log in not with the root account, with the Vimal account, but even they log in with the Vimal account. Even though if I check my ID is, mm, if you guys know a little bit about Linux, so any user, okay, that has a ID, it's called UID equals to 0, that is considered as a root account, right? So I can say root account is equal to 0 ID. But any other ID by the name, I can say will known as general user that has a limited power. So because right now I am logging with the limited power, and if I use the yum command again, it won't allow me, because you're telling your system I am Vimal and I would like to use yum. Only root is allowed in the last line C. But internally, you have extra power, so you can tell I have the extra power. I would have to utilize my power. So I'm asking my sudo command, and they give me extra power to me. And sudo always ask my password again one more time. Okay, so just 1 minute, guys. Here, one point here to be noticed. It's very important while discussing some of my Ansible topic today. So technically, if you want to log in with Vimal, you have to give this password here. That's called login password. But as a Vimal user, if you want to use your own power with sudo, sudo will ask you one more time your same password, that you are your own password. But by chance, this password is known as sudo password. So there's two different password you are applying here. First for login, for one for sudo, but password is same. So I'm giving my own password, and now this time you see this command won't fail. This form fail, and they're working properly, and they say software install complete or they already installed. Okay. So finally, what I'm talking about, this is a very quick revision I want to do for you. Anybody who by chance doesn't know by chance anything about sudo. But one small thing I just want to tell you guys about sudo, very small thing. Even though I log in with Vimal, and any command that is run by Vimal directly, system is running this command with the power of Vimal only. How I know? The best way to check is, if you run the id command will tell you, okay, id of your OS, sorry, id of your user. And right now my user id is 1001. But same id command if you run with sudo command. Okay, so again you are Vimal. You are the one who running the id command, but behind the scene you're telling to operating system that I am Vimal, but I would like to run this command with the power of root. Because they run the power, they run this command with the power root, so you know what the output will come up. This output will be very much different. And if you guys see here, and compare the output, in both the cases I log in with Vimal only. Okay, but here I get the output Vimal id 001 or maybe 102, because system will give any unique id to you. But in this case, if I use sudo, again Vimal is the one who running the sudo command, running the id command actually. But internally system feel you are not the Vimal, you are running this command with the power root, so they will show you the id of the root or name of the root. So I just want to prove you that sudo command, sudo command behind the scene use the power of the root. And guys, I would like to give one more vocabulary here. It means whenever Vimal user are using a sudo, so according to the system, that user is not a Vimal, the Vimal become root. And guys, this concept is called becoming. So if Vimal want to become root user that has all the power, or what power we give to Vimal for the root of that command or admin command, okay, that concept is called becoming. So either you can use the word become, becoming, or you can use the word called privilege escalation. But why I'm giving this word here, because in the Ansible we are going to use this vocabulary somewhere. Okay, so if Vimal want to mm, become root, they have to use a program called sudo. That's called becoming method. So which method they have to use sudo? Because sudo is not the only program. There is other program also available in Linux and other operating system. Okay, but sudo is very commonly used program in the Linux operating system. Okay, so why I'm discussing this point here? Okay, now we can very much relate this topic with the Ansible. Okay, so now the scenario is something like this. If you talk more about the Ansible perspective, so till date, guys, we are writing a playbook in the controller node, and in the playbook, guys, maybe I've used one of the module called package module, and we are applying this module on one of my target node. And this till date, guys, we are using target node is called Linux operating system. And you guys know, whenever this playbook has been applied to the target node, behind the scene they log in to this target node. And guys, till date they are logging with the user called root in this target node. How I know? If you very quickly go and check your inventory file or your database file, you'll see whenever you log into your target node, you always log in with the root username and password on IP address 155 target node. I told you guys this because this is a Linux node. 99.9%, I can say 100% in the real world, we always disable the root account. It's a good security practice. Maybe somebody might not, but it is good security practice. Okay, so in this IP, in this IP, my root account is disabled. Is disabled. Okay. So it means if disable, if you try to log in root account CLI or GUI, or you log in via SSS, in any of the cases, you won't able to log in the root account. So in this case, in this target node, somebody has created some extra general account for you. Let's say Vimal in IP 155 that I already created just for demos. For example, this is IP. Let me log in again with root account just to show you again. So this IP is 155 and somebody has created this account for us. Okay. And because now we know a requirement in this target node, we are going to apply playbook, and we know in the playbook we are going to use package module, we are going to use service module. And by chance, right now, whenever we apply the package module in the target node, package module behind this in call yum command. Whenever you use service module in this target node, or because this is the Red Hat version 8, they might be using system shield command. So maybe in this Linux OS, there might be 100 and 100 plus admin command that only root can use. But root is disabled, nobody can log in. Only login is allowed to Vimal user. So what I'll do, I give some extra power to Vimal, which is called privilege escalation. Okay. And in this case, I will give Vimal a power only for this command. Why only for this command? Because finally my playbook is going to use only these module. And this module gonna call this command. And this command need admin power. Root has, but root is disabled. So we'll give this power to Vimal. And guys, that's what I did here. But to make this practical a little bit more simple, what I did, instead I give the command power to Vimal yum or systemctl. I give all the commands. So guys, if you see the last all means all the command power. That means all the power Vimal has. So technically, it means it always consider right now for just for practice, root is disabled. It means you want to apply the playbook. Okay, you have to log in not with root account, with the Vimal account. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to update my inventory and say in my IP 155, only account that is available, that is able to log in is Vimal account. Okay, because root is disabled. And by chance, my Vimal password that I have set in this system is, let's say in my case, by chance I set Q. So I want, please go to IP 155. I'm turning to my control node, log in with Vimal account with Q and log in with SSS. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we're logging with SSS, use Vimal with password Q. Okay. And then apply the playbook. Now guys, here everything is same. I just changed a small scenario of user login. Okay. But if I do so, and now if I run, guys, right now I'm just running my ad hoc command here to demonstrate this. Right now I'm running this Ansible command on IP 155, and I am running a module called package. And in the package module, I'm going to use some attribute here. A name is called stdpd. Okay, and state is called I want this software to project. So okay, this is the exactly same command that you always use. But you know what you will see today? You'll see today this command will fail. But what exactly this command is doing behind the scene, this command is going to IP 155, log into Vimal and asking that I am going to give you package module to run. And package module is the one behind the scene, by chance we know in the next they call yum command. So technically we are asking Vimal to run the yum command. For Vimal a general user, and general user don't have a power to run admin level commands. Okay, but if you want Vimal will run the admin level command, first of all, first step what you do you have to go to sudo or file to give Vimal extra power that I already did in this computer. But second, one more step you have to do that I already show you. Okay, you have to tell the Vimal if somebody log into you. Okay, and whenever somebody asks you to run yum command or package module, don't run with your power, run with the power of sudo. Means you have to become yourself to the root account. Okay, so technically in my target node, I have given Vimal a power. See here all, but only giving power is not enough, right? while running your playbook, right, it asks the vimal, don't run with your power. Okay, run with the power of root. Means you have to become root. Okay, and right now we haven't asked vimal to become root, and that is a reason you will get the same error what I show you in my yum command also for vimal account, and say is fail because you don't have power, you should be root only. Even though one more way we can check here, if you run again a module called command module, and here I'm running command called id. So technically what I mean by this, okay, I'm running a command called id using the Ansible. But if you use Ansible, if you use SSS, or you use remote local login, the same thing, right? So I'm running this id command on IP155, and I'm running this command with the power of with the power of vimal. Because we run with the power vimal, so they show me vimal. But that's what I don't want here. I would like to run my id command or my package module or service module, uh, log in with the vimal user, but enter power should be, or privilege escalation should be should be root. For this, Ansible has option. So technically, if you run any Ansible command, ad hoc command or playbook, and behind the scene, this playbook is login with some other user. But if you want to tell Ansible, log in with Vimal, but don't run this command or don't run this module with the power of Vimal. You have to become other user. And normally the other user we all always want to become is root. So for this, in the Ansible command or Ansible playbook command, if you go for help, if you go for help and search for some a string called become, you will find some option here. And one of the option is become option. Okay, so I'm asking my Ansible that login to IP155. Okay, with Vimal power. So Vimal user, I given the password to you. But while running this module, I want you have to become somebody else. Okay, but become what? You want to become root user. You want to become, maybe there might be some more user in the Linux, maybe Krish user. What do you want to become? So in sudo we have a lot of options, guys. We can become other user also, but normally 99% we always want to become root user. But here we can pass here. There's one more option if you see here, becoming user. Okay, so I'm writing here that I want you have to become root user. Okay, and I told you guys, if you are a Vimal, but after login, when you run any command, okay, you want to run any command, but you don't want to run this command with your power, with other power, and here the other power is root. Okay, so for this, for the privilege escalation, there will be lots of program available in the market. Very famous is sudo. I can say a lot of method available. So you have to give here your method name. Let's call method name. Which method you want to use? So there's a lot of method. I'm going to use sudo here because in IP155 we have set up the sudo for the Vimal. Now what happened? Even though if you want to see other method also, there's a one document available. All the method that is available to become privileges or to do privilege escalation. Okay, so there are a lot of method available in the market. Okay, a lot of other tools. One of the great tool, guys, I have worked on, very powerful tool. Right, as such there is no great competition of that tool. It's tool from the Centrify, and the program is called Djudo. Djudo. It's called Djudo. Okay, so I've worked a lot. Very limited technical folks in the market who work in this tool. I am the by chance one of the consultant for Centrify. Very powerful tool. Many, maybe some of the guys who are working in the access uh, or identity team in your company, you guys might have heard about a Centrified tool, powerful tool, have a central control of Windows and Linux and all the things, right? So I highly recommend, if you got a chance, definitely work and try to work in this tool. Very powerful tool. Okay, but just for Linux, we have a tool called sudo, substitute user do, sudo. So that's what, guys, we are using here. So now, guys, the difference is, now if you run this command, if you run this command, all right, finally, just think here. I don't know the root username and password of IP155, or maybe root username password or root user is disabled, maybe. But even though if I run this command, what you will get the ID of the user who run this. Okay, and the ID of the user who run this command, actual user is actual user, Vimal, but internally they will give the output called root. It is same demo. Right now I'm running this demo with Ansible. But same demo I show you in my local CLI. So if I log in with Vimal account with the password, if I use sudo, if I use only ID, so guys, this command is exactly equals to this command. Why we got this error, I will explain you in a minute. This command. So technically, this command is run by Ansible from remote login. Output is same. And here I just show you this command local login. But if you use this command, this command is also is known as becoming. Okay. And understand one thing, guys. Whenever you use sudo command always asks password one more time. This goes sudo password. Because we use sudo, then now they show me you are not a Vimal. You are running this command power root. But whenever you use sudo command, either you use or Ansible use behind the scene for you. Or because Ansible is behind the scene use sudo for you. So sudo is again asking the password. This goes sudo password. And because I'm not passing this password again one more time, that is the reason that we got this fail message. So if you want to pass this password, let's check, does we have any option available in the Ansible for sudo password? Okay. Or let me check become password. Okay, so if you see here, ask become password. So this is the option available here. It means, okay, if I use this command here, this command means when I log into this system, the login and password we are going to Vimal, but you have to run this command, and this command you run with a sudo. But I want you ask the password to the answer. Which password? Sudo password. Now here they're asking not the Vimal login password. Okay, they're asking the becoming password, means the sudo password. And because I know my own password, so I can type, and what you will see here, you will see here. Okay, I log in with Vimal, but internally they run this ID command with the power of root. So guys, this is the best command to test your setup. So whenever, guys, you do any privilege escalation setup and to check everything working good or not, I think this is the best command to check. This command check that you are logging with your email account, but you're getting the power of root. That's what the meaning of becoming or privilege escalation. And now we can apply the same concept here. Now, any of the command you run or module you run in the Ansible, with package module. Right now, guys, this command again, I'm logging and running with Vimal. But Vimal, we are running with Vimal, but Vimal, you're not passing the sudo power to Vimal. Again, it will fail. It will fail. You're not root. So what can, guys, now from onwards, if you want to run any any module, any Ansible modules, right, you have to always pass this option. Which option? This one. From here till here. So this is the option we have to always use in all the Ansible playbook and the Ansible ad hoc command. So just write it. Now what you'll see, as they become password and they will run for us. Now guys, there's no error come up and everything working great. Okay, so technically just consider that in my target node root account is disabled, but you can run everything very very with the same power the way we use till deed. But the only difference is where you using the general user and here we're just passing some extra becoming power. But one small challenge you guys face here, the challenge is it means if you use any Ansible playbook or Ansible ad hoc command, the syntax is same, but after every command in the last we have to pass these options every time. So it will be guys always very tedious always to type this option every time whenever you run the playbook. You know, it is something like when you run the playbook, we till date guys we just write Ansible playbook and playbook name. But now from onward, you have to always type these options in the last. But because we know, because we know whenever we use Ansible, okay, or Ansible ad hoc or playbook command, we have to always use this option. And guys, if you think you want to always use this option, so make this option as a default option. And if you want to make this option the default option, you have to always use the Ansible configuration file. Okay, so again, guys, the use of Ansible configuration file come in play. Okay, the same file that we used yesterday also. So I'll go to my Ansible config file and say that I would like to set some thing about my privilege, privilege, maybe VLEG escalation. Okay. So guys, this is the different section over here for the privilege escalation in the Ansible conf file. And I'm telling the one thing that I want, first of all, you know what I'm doing here? I'm tapping everything exactly same. I'm enabling the becoming, become user is root, method is sudo, and I want, they will ask my sudo password also to my Ansible. So I'm saying I'm enabling become, my become method method equals to sudo, or maybe your company might have other privilege escalation tool like I show you djdo, or becoming user. I want whatever user I use, my become user become root because root has a power, and I want, they will ask me sudo password of that user. Let's say you want to ask or not, I would like to ask. That's all. So now because you write in your configuration file, I told you yesterday guys, when you run any Ansible playbook or Ansible ad hoc command, a conf file always being read by these commands. Now if you want to write these options always in your command, okay, or you don't write is same thing. Because these options guys we have enabled put in my conf file, so you don't have to type again and again, but it will work for you in the same right here. If you see same output come up. So even though guys very quickly, technically I am logging with the Vimal. I don't know anything about the root using the password. Maybe they are disabled or they are disabled always, but we have a power to log in with the root account with the Ansible. Okay, so that is one of the concept wise. But you can we can guys, you can answer understand this concept more in clear way if you guys know more about the sudo. So guys, if you go to my Linux classes, I explain sudo from very basics to all the advanced. So if you know those concepts, you can add some more functionality of sudo here. For example, one of the functionality is obviously if you guys know about sudo, obviously because right now I'm logging Vimal account. This is my local CLI here. So I'm giving the Vimal password here, and whenever Vimal use sudo, again they ask the password. Sometimes good for security because it means whenever you use sudo, they always ask the password. Okay. So technically they're asking the same they're asking your password only always, right? So sometime it is not good, we it's not good user experience, I can say. Always they keep on asking the password. Okay, so what can we do in my controller node where you have the Vimal account? We go to initially we have to set up, let's say initially we are setting up the sudo. Okay, and initially guys, when we give the Vimal power, we can add one keyword here, is called no uh, pass wd. Means whenever Vimal as a user use sudo command, because obviously because Vimal is a user and Vimal is logging from their account, so they know the password. So there's no meaning to again ask the password again and again whenever they use sudo. So you can disable the sudo password in the sudo file wherever you log in with the Vimal account, either locally or with Ansible or SS. Now what you will see here, now if I log in with the Vimal, again use sudo, this time they won't ask your own password, they will directly run it. Okay, so in this case, if I go to my again controller node, and because we already given Vimal password here, maybe our local login or SSH. Okay, this time, this time if I go to my Ansible conf file, okay, so you don't have to use this password, you can make it false. This false means I'm telling to my sudo that you are logging with some user, that user will give a power of root again and again. But whenever there are any command or module, don't ask sudo password again and again. The way it asked in my last commands. In last command they asked me here, become password. But this time if I run, okay, so they won't ask me. So Ansible is not asking the password sudo because we disable in the Ansible conf file. But it work only if if your target node, in my case 155, has that keyword enabled. Which keyword? This keyword. Okay, so because they are saying we don't need your password or sudo password, then only you can apply this keyword in the Ansible control node. Okay, so guys, this is one of the concept of privilege escalation, that is all about privilege escalation. But as you know more about sudo, you can add some more thing, not from the Ansible perspective, but at the controller node perspective. Sorry, at the manage node perspective. Okay. And one more thing, guys, why is this topic is very important? Because normally, if you take this example, guys, if you relate this example with AWS cloud, so anybody who work in any of the cloud, maybe let's say AWS cloud, will launch one Linux instance user service called EC2. And guys, if you notice if you use any Linux instance in the EC2, okay, we never log in with the root account directly. They always give some other user login. By chance, if you know AWS, they launch the Linux OS and they create one extra user for you, and most of the time they create a user called EC2-user. In my case, I log in with the Vimal account, but normally in the AWS they create this account for you. You know why they did? Because they say for the security best practices, your Linux OS is running on the cloud, it's public, anybody may try to break your system. Or maybe some other reason, maybe of security is right. So we disable this root account login, remote login. So if you want to do something, you just use this account to log in. But this user, after login, we give some extra power, it's called sudo power to this user. So if you want to use some kind of admin stuff, like yum command or some other admin things, you can use sudo to do this. So anybody who you use AWS cloud or maybe other clouds also, other instances also, this is a very common practice you always see. It means, it means if you want to make this instance one of your target node, and if you have a controller node, so in your inventory, because root user is disabled here, okay, so in your inventory, guys, you won't able to add username equal to root because it's disabled. Or because it's disabled, or maybe you don't know the password, for example. Okay, so we won't able to. So in this case, we have to use the user called Vimal user or EC2 user or whatever user you have there. Or because this user, they normally provide with the sudo power So here you can write, I'm logging with the EC2 user or Vimal user in some of my cloud instances. But after they log in and they run any command or package or modules, I want they become and they run the command with the power of root. Same concept, guys, we can apply there. Okay, apply there. Maybe if you want, I'll show you one quick demo on this. So before this, guys, and before I go for this demo, I have to explain you one more concept here. This is called keys or SSS keys. And if you know this concept, then only I can show this demo, because one more thing as a good practice we always do for login. But before I go for this concept and show you how to make AWS instance as a target node, okay, I have a two quick announcement for you. Okay, the first announcement is, guys, if you remember in my initial classes when I start the Ansible, okay, I ask everyone as a recommended task to just go through the market and try to find out some use cases, how the industry using Ansible, something like this. So almost I can say a lot of guys has participated in this task. Okay, and my team has finalized three student who have done this tasks very greatly, and they write a great blog or article, something like this. Okay, and I told you guys that time also, we will also give some kind of some kind of reward to some great or best student on this task, right? So I have I just want to announce and congratulate those students. I have the name of, we finally um, uh, finally select three students who have a great research on the Ansible use cases on my initial task. Okay, so my team has created this great way to congratulate these guys. So I just want to congratulate Shivangini here, Simran, and Akanksha over here. Right, great job you guys have done. Other guys also write a great article in the blogs for Ansible use cases, but my team found these three guys or girls has done the great job in the terms of research and use cases. I'm only, guys, referring to the my first task of Ansible. Okay, so my team will connect you guys, and they might have some kind of great goodies or reward. I don't know, cash prize. I don't know what they have for you. They will definitely, connect to you guys. So thank you very much for participating in this task. It's great for you. So this one announcement. Second announcement, that is very important for all of you. And in for the Ansible guys, okay, because everybody over here right now in the Ansible training. So this is the first time we are doing this as a Linux world. Or I think this might be first time happen ever in any of the Ansible training across the globe. Okay, what we're doing, guys, and this is the one of the demand, guys, also arise from your side day before yesterday when you participated in the webinar. And the motto of that webinar was to give you a high level glimpse about what is happening across the market, different use case. The motto was not at all the practical, right? The motto was to just give you multiple ideas where Ansible can be used, and that was done very much gracefully or successfully. Okay, but a lot of guys ask us to if we can do some kind of practical demonstration. Even though right now we're doing Ansible training, but the training motto is to train you guys. Okay, even though I keep on talking multiple different small use case of the industry. Okay, but if you want to see uh, how exactly industry use case has been solved practically, okay, practically with the Ansible, and how we write the playbook and rules and different things, maybe, or modules or variables and other things, mapping, and and how exactly industry use case solve, work on different challenges we have. Pure me, it is thing like some great company is using Ansible, or the complete scenario. I'm talking about is a real practical use case. So what we did, guys, right, one of the great principal, I'm not talking consultant, I'm talking principal consultant from the Red Hat core team, technical team. Okay, and the name of the guy is Srijit. If you search him on the Google also, he's a principal consultant, Srijit. And the great thing is Srijit is only from the red side available for the webinar or the practical demonstration, only for the great company demonstration or some of the great conferences. So because of our demand, so we are inviting him and he's ready to come. Okay, so so we are guys, we are arranging one complete use case basis practical of the Ansible by the Srijit on and this you can think as an extra bonus class from my side. Okay, so don't think as a webinar, is a bonus class to give you actual picture of Ansible. Okay, so on the Monday guys, we are arranging, we know we don't have a class on Monday, but it is an extra bonus class for you. So we are arranging this webinar for you, and not only Srijit is coming, we also asked and invite one more great personal from the Red Hat, and he is the Asia head. I'm not talking about the head from management. He's a technical head of Asia. His name is Arun Ifan. Is he normally not available for any kind of technical thing? So Arun Ifan, he's a technical head or not India of the Asia. And because technical of Asia is coming, so India head, his name is Amil. He's also coming. So a lot of technical guys. Pure, we will around with the technical guys on a Monday. Monday, and intention is to give you extra knowledge in this training process. Okay, so we and this guys, this webinar or this class or this bonus class is only exclusively for the Ansible students from Linux world. That's all. So we are inviting you. Okay, and we are also inviting my last batch, just we completed Ansible. So only two batches we are inviting so that you can understand what exactly going on. Okay, yeah, obviously for the earth learner, it is a compulsory, they have to attend. And we'll give one more task there after you guys complete this Monday uh, class or webinar. Because this is a pure practical, is a long topic because they will explain the complete architecture and then the practically they implement everything. Okay, so this would be go around 2.5 hour to 3 hour. Around 3 hours is a long class. Obviously, we'll do a small break in between. So it's a long class, and because this is long, so I think we will guys update you with the current actual time. But I think around 7 o'clock or 7:30, I don't know. My team will update you guys in your respective group with the links. Okay, 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere around we will start. Okay, that's for Monday. This Monday I'm talking about. So this is a great second announcement for you, and this is the first time happening. Again, I'm repeating, guys. In the normal training, we or nobody never do this to ask the technical heads of the companies to demonstrate the Ansible practical use cases of the industry. Okay, so this is the second announcement, guys, from my side. So let's come to add one more topic here. The topic is, and maybe after this topic, guys, I'll show you how to integrate AWS with the Ansible. Integrate means I how to make AWS instance managed node of the Ansible control node. Okay, so let me show you this demo also in parallel. So, but before this demo, I would like to explain you one more concept here. The concept is okay, very simple concept because some of my initial basic classes that I shared with you, we have already discussed with to you. But very quickly, let me guys give you a complete summary so you can relate what exactly we're doing here. So technically, guys, if you talk about Linux operating system, okay, and if you want to log into the remote Linux operating system from the remote computer, okay, mainly and mostly 99% we always use SSH. You guys know this. But if you use SSH, obviously, if you log into the system, they will ask you a username and password. That's called authentication. And typically, guys, in the SSH, there's a lot of way you can authenticate your username and password. There's a lot of way. Okay. One of the simplest and typical way is giving the username and password that we are using from the first. Okay. But again, in the real world, around 95% or more than 95%, we don't use username and password for the authentication to this OS via SSH. Till date we are using for remote login. I'm talking SSH. Okay, but we don't use, again, because security reason. There are a lot of security reasons behind this. I don't want to discuss right now. Okay, maybe a password, maybe somehow break very easily. This might be maybe some dictionary attack or both first attack, something like this. So we always use a practice. If you want to log into this OS, let's say the username maybe root user, or maybe username maybe Vimal user. So we will use the username, let's say Vimal, but instead of the password, okay, we use a concept called key. Typically it's called private key, public private key. Okay. Lot of Intel, there's a lot of concept, a lot of extra process happening, but you can think private key is like a password. If normally password is 8 or 10 character, this private key maybe 2 pages of password, I can say something like this, to make it very simple understanding. Okay, so this is one of more method for authenticate. There's some more method called Cabros and tickets and tokens and other things. So we are not so much interested on this part. Okay, so I am today I'm interested in this part. So we don't use this login and password. Okay, this is called password based authentication. And mostly, guys, in normally NAS system, the password based authentication for SSH is almost disabled. And they only allow a private key based authentication, or it is also known as public key based authentication. Instead we use private key, but it's known as public key based authentication. We always use. Okay, and again, if you guys know anything about AWS cloud, there also any of the Linux instance you launch, okay, you will always found, okay, if you want to log into this OS via SSH, and by chance if you know password, by the way guys, you don't know the password, but if you know the password also, it won't work because password authentication is disabled normally in the Linux instance in AWS. Only way to log in to this guy, that your computer should have a private key, and you use a private key as a password to log in. So most guys know AWS, we always use this PEM or PPK private key input to log in. Okay, so I'm discussing this to tell you one thing. Till date, guys, we are using password authentication. We don't use in the real world. So I'm just want to show you this dimension very quickly. Okay, first of all, this might be not be very important, but first of all, I just want to show you how to disable the password authentication. But before this, you should have enabled public key based authentication. Okay, so um, this command, guys, you know, I believe, because some of the basics concepts or my basic some class of Linux, but very quickly just want to show you as a demonstration by chance somebody forgot or miss. So technically our intention is something like this. Okay, this is the one computer, and in this computer we have account called Vimal. And from this computer this guy want to log in, and this time, guys, I don't want to use the password of Vimal. By chance I know the password queue, but I don't want to use. So this computer want to use a key. And system who would like to log in to this OS, sometime this OS is also known as a remote server or server, and this system is known as client. So in this case, guys, client should have a key, and that's called private key. Sorry, private key. The guy who log in, obviously they have the password, but here they should have the client should have a private key. And normally in this scenario, normally, okay, while doing some practice, client is the one who create a private key. Okay, and with a private key, they will create one more key, typically known as public key, and they send this public key here and say, server, I don't want to use this password queue, but I want you please allow me authorize my private key so I can use this key and log in on you. So this kind of setup normally we do. I don't want to invest much time here. There's no so much relevant, but that's what I'm going to do here. So to showing this demo, what I'm doing here. So let's say this computer is a client. This computer is a client. So what this computer is doing, so I'm setting in the client. So I'm going to create my private key and the public key. And for this, we have a command called SSH keygen. So this command, guys, will create a public and private key pair. And we are storing this private key by default in this file. You can change the file location and enter. So I'm a public key automate the story. So technically in my client, I create my public key, or I can say private key and the public key. I never share my private key to somebody else, but I will upload my public key to my remote system where I would have to log in. And why uploading? To telling this guy, okay, that I am sharing my identity to you, because every private key has a unique public key. So I'm sharing my identity to you. I want, please, can you approve me? So in the future, if I log into you to email account, I don't want to use the password. I can use my private key. Okay. So, but if you guys still here, if you try to log in Vimel account, right, and the system called this system, by chance, in my case, the IP of this system is 155. So if I log in to Vimel account and IP 155, guys, still here, because we haven't upload this public key and authorized. I have a private key public key in my own computer, but I haven't authorized to IP 155 to the account called Vimal. So they're asking password. By chance, I know the password and password enabled, so I can log in. But typically in the real world, we don't have a password and password authentication. This is called password authentication disabled. So it will fail. They give the error password authentication fail. Okay. But what can you do? First time while doing this setup, you can upload your public key to this computer system. I have to upload. There's a command called SSS copy ID, and I am uploading my key to the IP called 155. And guys, and that's one thing, we never log in with the IP. We always log in with the account. Which login you want to log in? So the gets guys, this command automatic pick my public key. Okay, and uploading this time. And first time they're asking the password, and I give my password, and they upload. One key added. Technically, this means we upload my public key in, and this system authorized. So this is the setup initially we do. Okay, after we do the setup, we disable the password authentication. We disable other things also. Okay, so in the future, now if you guys again try to log in the system, and now this time, guys, you will see they won't ask me password. Okay, they go to my this file, because this file is called private file, is stored in my own computer. Because I have this file in this location. Sorry. Because I have this file in my location, and this is my password. It's actually known as private key, and you can see here password private key is so big in size. And this is the same private key that you download from your AWS cloud also before you launch the instance. Okay, because I have this private key in this location. This is a pre-different pre-created location. So now onwards, whenever you try to log in to this IP, to this account, they first go to this location and say, does private key available? If yes, use this private key to log in. Don't ask the password. And guys, this time you see, they won't ask the password and directly log in. And I reach to the system. And technically, because they're not asking password, so this is also known as passwordless authentication. But it doesn't mean it is unsecure. It is billions and trillion times secure than the passwordless authentication. They log in without password because I had this private key in my computer. If I remove this file, obviously it won't work. It won't work. Okay. So typically, guys, there's two topic I discuss here, and now this two topic is is more than enough to explain you how to make Ansible, how to make AWS instance as a controller node, sorry, as a target node. Okay, and this is the way actually we work. So technically, the summary is summary is okay. And why I'm discussing this, because you know what, in our case, and this is a common concept of SSH actually. Of Ansible, because behind the scene use SSH. Okay, so in this context, you can think this server is not server; it is one of my managed node. Or this client is not client, is a Ansible control node. Because Ansible control node is the one always who log into the system. So Ansible control node always work as a SSH client. In my initial class, I told you this thing to you. So it means if you want to make any as a managed node, either you can provide the password to the controller node, but there's no good way in terms of security. So instead of password, you have to provide your controller node a private key. Okay, and you have to private the private key. One of the way you can store your private key in this file. This is one of the way. Or if you have private key in any other file, so you can go and update and Ansible inventory that uh, there's one keyword you can find in the Ansible document where you can give I would like to log in Vimal account via SSH on this IP on this IP. But I don't want to use password because password disable, even though I don't know the password. Instead of password, I have some file somewhere. I am giving the location of that file. Uh, use that file to to connect to the instance. So this is the process it works. Now, after guys have these two concepts, okay. If with pseudo concept and with the SSS concept, I was comparatively little fast. Okay, for those guys who don't know sudo and sss, but if you guys go through my last classes, so this concept would be very much simpler for you. Okay, so by chance we miss, just go through that classes. That's what I want to say here. Okay, so final summary is and if you can use this summary to make AWS instance target node. So guys, if you want that you have one OS that's called Linux OS are running using the EC2 service of AWS cloud. And if you want to configure this OS, let's go config management with the help of Ansible. So first of all, you require a controller node. An interesting thing is your controller node would be your personal laptop and personal VM. What am I using here? Okay. Only thing you have to do, you have to create one inventory file. And in the inventory file, identify, you have to tell the IP of this guy, this OS of the AWS cloud. Obviously, these are running in the cloud. You have to give the public IP. Second, you have to give a username and what a user they have created, or you can create the user there. So let's say they have the user by default. Normally, they create it called EC2 user. So you give the username here, and you have to provide password. And normally, this user don't have a password enabled, so you have to provide your SSS private key. From where you get the key. So anybody who know AWS cloud, you know, while launching the AWS cloud, they will ask you to download this key, copy in this control node. Wherever you copy in the folder, just give the path here. Path here. Before this, you have to use some option in your inventory file. For example, for password, you have to use this option. And for the private key, I think somebody asked me in my initial classes, but very quickly I'll show you. If you search for Ansible inventory, okay, so you can see some of the document of the Ansible inventory. Or any options that is related to inventory file, you can find here. So just go down and somewhere you'll see if you want to use a username or if you want to use um, SSS private key, you can use this option. Okay, the way I use password here, change the password, you can use this option and give the location where you copy your private key in the controller node. So what happened guys, after providing the same three information whatever we did till date, they again, when you run the playbook or the ad hoc command from your laptop, they go to AWS cloud because we have give the public IP. They connect and log in because we have username and the password. But by chance guys, here I haven't logged in with the root account. We can't log in with root account also because root might be disabled, or because your root is disabled. And in the playbook, if you use any admin command that we always use, like package module you use, so this user don't have power. But the guy the AWS guys who give this OS to us, they give always this user with a sudo power. You don't have to do, they will give you sudo power. Okay, so you don't have to configure anything in the controller node. So sorry, in the target node. Okay, you just update the Ansible conf file that after login with this user is the user, make it become a root account. So you do use that, the privilege escalation concept. So guys, I think if you try this thing, it will be again one simple task for you. And this similar task I have actually already given to you. If you remember my initial classes, when I explained about AWS, I show you how to launch this. And after launch this, I have given the task. After launch, you have to use the same instance. After provisioning, you have to use the same instance for the config as a target node. But for this two concepts, we require privilege escalation. So you can run the playbook with the power of root and the SS key so that you can log in over there. So I don't want to again invest your and my time. Just try it. I think after practice, guys, this thing in your local computers, the way I explain you, then if you try in AWS cloud, it won't be big deal. Do it. Otherwise, I will show you this demo if you want in the future classes. Okay. So two concepts, guys, I have covered for you. Tomorrow, I just want to say you Merry Christmas, and we have off tomorrow, and we have extra class, extra session, extra webinar on Monday. See you there. Okay, I will update you time and other details also. Role, we have a great discussion left in next class. Maybe in Tuesday we will talk more about role and some other concept. But one more thing, guys, very quickly, I just want to tell you, anybody who are appearing for the examination, we will, I will guys give you exam boot camp. But everybody who are the part of the role or the rated official training, they will have this soft copy book. And guys, if you try to follow the content of this book, okay, according to the official program, almost all the major topic we have covered. So we know about ad hoc, we know about inventory, we are running playbooks, we know of variables, facts, secret, loop, error handling, Jinja templates, okay, rules, and some other thing like user management. But in between, there might be some more topic, like for example, we'll talk some more about Ansible Galaxy. We have some more thing about roles, dynamic inventories, parallelism, or maybe about how to get custom vecs. But almost every topic I touch, okay. But some topic is left from my side. So my upcoming class, I will definitely we will complete on time. But according to exam perspective, 95% portion that normally covered, or 96% portion that covered in the examination, it is covered from my side. And a lot of extra topic like Docker, AWS, HA proxy, and I don't know, lots of extra topic also been covered. But we will discuss more topics in my next classes. So I want to tell you, update you guys. So I highly recommend, guys, those who have this book, okay, and plus the Red Hat rule labs, very highly recommended. Okay, every chapter has a guided exercise, like guided exercise, guided exercise. So if you click here, okay, they will guide you what to do. So just go to this file, update this entry, go to this file, update this entry, and they get this is very great practicals they perform in this book. Okay, perform, you will also get some extra options for sure. Okay, so do it. So try to solve this lab, it will give you extra knowledge, definitely. Okay, but any other topic left related to 294 left, we'll very soon complete this, and some more extra topic I told you, we will also touch those topics also. So that's all, guys, from my side. Any questions, queries, if you have till date, you guys can ask. I think others, you are talking about SSS, you're trying to do AWS Ansible, it give error core key permission. I think now others, I think you will get the answer for my today's class. Okay, you don't have to, because by default using the password there, password authorization is disabled. We can enable that as a different point, but you have to use SSS key and the key that you have downloaded. By saying that anybody doesn't understand SSS key concept or SSS, so in long ago, guys, we have shared one SSS class to you, basic classes. We discuss these commands there. So today's was again the quick summary of SSS key. Okay, so it faster because it was summary what I did today. So why we have to put a public key of control node? Yes, actually, this is not the actually main topic for today, but there is a lot of cryptographic reason. I will definitely take some cryptography classes in my YouTube channels. We'll definitely invite guys, all of you guys there. Then I will explain you what is the actual meaning of public key, private key, all the use cases of public keys, other things also, right? So very hard right now to explain you, but definitely I will explain you in some other classes. Okay, why to provide a public key to control node? But don't think it's a control node, manage node. It is thing control node is like a SSS client, and manage node is a remote login server or SS server. Okay, but why to provide public key there and authorize? It's a long discussion of security and the cryptography. Exam bootcamp will be for everyone. By chance, Tejas is not. Exam bootcamp is only for the guy who is going for the examination. Anirudh, we will talk about the questions and type of pattern come in the examination in my exam bootcamp. What is host key checking? I think Balwinder in my initial class I told you. So whenever you log in first time, SS they ask you yes or no. So host key checking will automatically select yes. Right. In the real use cases, we don't use password for Ansible. We have to use key instead of the password. So we need to create manually in all. No, Nikhil, we don't have to create manually. Uh, this has been done by our provisioning tool. So any of the provisioning tool who launch the OS for you, they will automatically set pass key based authentication in the OS, whatever the key name you provided. Okay. Uh, so right now I show you manually to explain you how the thing work, but in the real world, it is been automated by some kind of automation tool, like in AWS cloud, maybe cloud formation, maybe other tools like Foreman and other tools also available. For AWS, do you also need dynamic inventory? Yes, because there's one more use case, guys. I ask you about AWS. In this example, guys, if you guys maybe if you try, I don't know. Okay, you can use Ansible to install the OS. You can use Ansible to configure the OS. This is called configuration management. Okay, this first step and this third step. There's one more step in between. Okay, after install the OS from the Ansible, and before you configure the OS, we should know the IP address of this OS. And challenge is, guys, whenever you launch the OS, IP will always change. And without knowing the IP of that OS, how can we log in with the control node? Right? We need a public IP. So who will help me to find the IP? Because IP will always change. I don't want to do a manual thing here. I don't want to always when install the OS with Ansible or maybe other tools. I will go there, find the public IP, and put in my put in my inventory file, and then we configure. Okay. I want my IP address also being automatic come up. So actually, this was the task actually initially in my class Ansible I given to you. So in my Ansible class, I show you one demo how to provision the OS. So that time I give this task to you. Installation OS, I told you how to configure. I almost explain everything today. But one more task left is after install the OS and before we configure, how we find the IP of that OS. Even though guys, if you try this practical of Ansible, you will automatically come across with this challenge. And you'll find that you are manually to go there and pick the IP, update your inventory. And you'll find that time while doing this practical, if you real practice, that is it is not a great step to manually pick the IP. Here the role of dynamic inventory come in play. So in my upcoming class, guys, I will explain you how to use the dynamic inventory to automate this part also. Okay. Earth Learner can get this book. By chance, Satish, actually, this is not the book provided by us as a Linux World. This is the Red Hat authorized book directly provided by Red Hat. So we don't have any say in this book. So, mm, so uh, so technically anybody who in the mm, enrollment in the Red Hat role and exam, so Reddit only give the book to those guys. What is the difference between public and private key? Don't worry, guys. My today's topic is not about public private key. I just want to quickly show you one thing that in the SSS is not good practice to use sorry, using the password. We always use public key, private key the way we use in AWS. Okay, in AWS also instance, guys, we always use private key to log in. What is the difference? How they work? Don't worry, guys. I'll create some extra class for you. I will explain you there. So, uh, uh, how can you download the PDF? So I think MC, you have a account of the Reddit of a role where you access the Red Hat role and the labs. There, I think there in the top somewhere you can see the options to download the PDF or take the help from somebody. They will definitely help you. Yes, Manas, I'll try to complete Ansible course next week. So I'm picking guys some other question. Can we use Ansible playbook for Node.js program? You can use Parker in the reverse way. From the Node.js program, you can call the Ansible playbook for config something. Okay, or maybe some use case, maybe you can use Ansible playbook to set up the environment for the Node.js or for the Node server. Okay, so that is a two reverse of implementation of the Ansible you can do with the Node.js. Yes, will exam bootcamp will revive all of yes, Bathini, almost all the concept related to exam we will again revive. Okay, so don't worry, guys. Exam bootcamp will I have a very different pattern. Okay, so um, it will revise almost all the concept. Okay, with how and approach also for the examination. Don't worry about the exam bootcamp and exam. Bobby, you have shared some link to me. I think some article. By chance, this link is not clickable. If you can share me in my LinkedIn message, I will definitely check your post and message also. Yes, Hemant, I will explain your regex in detail. Don't worry. No, Chirag, we don't require to update sudo file in the control node. We only update the sudo file where I would have to log in. And understand one thing, we have to always log into the managed node. Okay, because managed node is the one where we configure something. So till date, if you see here, we always configure managed node. So we have to log into managed node. And because we are logging to managed node, so we have to update the sudo file only in the managed node. Control node, you can log in with any other user. That's not so much important, right? So, Rahul, anything about Reddit examination? I will take all the questions and all the information in my bootcamp, right? So we'll have detailed discussion on my exam bootcamp. So I will take your question over there. So let me check, guys. Any other queries here? Without using sudo, can we give the root permission to any other user? technically, there might be other program culprit, right? Or but as such, your OS doesn't provide you. I'm taking specific to the Linux user. There are a lot of reason why they don't allow you, but it's again depend upon command to command and file and program to program also. But yeah, in simple term, you require some kind of privileges escalation tool, maybe sudo, maybe other tool. Okay, but you require some privileges escalation tool. Otherwise, we don't have a power to give the root permission to other user. Yes, Balvinder, you can use all the DSA concept you know or you will know in the Ansible. But finally, in the Ansible, we have to write a code, right? Yes, because you can do SSS to the container and you can also configure container. But only thing is in the container, you should have SSH enabled. And we can enable SSH in the container. By default, that doesn't come with SSH enabled, but we can enable. So uh, in your shared IIC SS class, the key concept was not there. There's a two SS class actually, guys, in my IIC. One class is purely on SSS, and there's one more extra class I take in my other topics, where half the classes I have covered SSS key concept. So again, I ask my team, they will re-send that class to you. So you can go through that class and you, by chance, if you don't know about SS key, very high level concept I have given you today, but if you don't understand, again, go through that classes. It will again give you the concepts. And guys, SS key remote login is a very common concept. Common means hundreds times we are going to see and look at those concepts. So don't worry, you become very much comfortable. Maybe this is the first time you might be listening this topic, maybe, but don't worry, you become comfortable. Uh, so I will ask my team to share you SSS key in Gen class. Okay. So if those who don't have AWS, how can do the second task? Maybe iOS, you can go and create the account there. Account is free for some time. It's good to have the AWS account. Or if you don't have the account, nothing we can do, obviously. Just at least go to the concept, right? This can be done. At least you should know those words. This can be done with Ansible. Yes, Jyoti, we will learn cryptography in Earth. No, Priyanka, I don't think so. Now anybody can opt for 294 examination. I think, even though contact to Preeti also, but I think, according to my knowledge, the exam registration has been closed. So, so so again, these are the some of the questions I've seen here. Any other question we will discuss in the next classes, guys. That's all, guys, for today. I see you on Monday. Bye. Take care. See you.